a personal question, and y'all ain't have time to prepare for it. That's what I love about it. Um, and it's personal in the sense that a couple weeks ago we were talking about. I don't remember the topic, but I said something and I didn't like Chris's answer. And then I came back and I said, Chris, you absolutely do matter. I'm like, bro, all the stuff that you're doing in the community, yada yada yada. And he was like, okay, I see it. And I think we had another question with Chris, and then I had a question with the ladies' man. And it was like, my question is so, and to an extent, is we are actually doing well. If you look at your life now and look at your life 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it's not the same. But like when Chris was talking about, he was gauging his accomplishments and his impact and if he was doing enough. That's a question that all of us have highlighted on this show. And the thing that probably got me was the other day I was talking to Mario, and Mario just bought it, he bought his second home. He's successful. He has a side business. Xavier has his business. Like, we're actually doing good. But what is it that makes us constantly question our progress or analyze whether we're doing enough? Like, you can be doing so good and everybody else seeing us, they're like, boy, you're doing real good, but you don't really feel it. You don't feel like you're doing enough. Chris just said the other week, he was like, when he was here, he was doing his mentoring with the kids and he was doing different things. And then last week he was questioning, what he had going on now. And we looking like, bro, you got a business, you're doing major stuff, but he didn't feel it. So I guess my question is, what is it that makes us consistently question that? Because I have such a fear of failing that drives me every day. As much as I bless my family and I'm good to my family and I know my importance, I know that if I fail, I don't really have someone I can go to. So I know that's a lot of pressure on me. And like most black men that grew up without a mom or dad or whatever, there's a lot of pressure on us. But even though we're doing good, I've heard each one of you say, kind of like, I don't know. Like, you feel like you're not doing enough or you feel like you missing something. I'm gonna go to Mario first on that because you usually the wise person of the group. Did you understand my question, Mario?
I do, and I think that that's a question that a lot of men ask themselves when we have talks amongst each other, because most of the time we're dealing with this in silence. And I think it's a little bit of survivor's remorse and fear of failure. Uh, when I first met my wife, I seen the ability for her just to walk into situations and have no fear. Like, she could be working a job and she just say, "Well, this job better. I'm out," and just leave that job and then just go to another job, and then be like, "Man," I'd be like, "Man, you already had a rapport over here. Everything was good," but she had no fear. And I think it's because when I started looking into her background, I was like, "Man, she come from a good, solid family with a mom and a dad. They pretty, they doing pretty good. Her brothers, older brothers, doing pretty good. Her auntie." So I kind of realized over talking to her that she didn't really have a fear of ever going backwards too far. So she had the courage to just say, "You know what, I'm going," and she didn't ever have because there's no pressure on her. Like, she didn't have to worry about taking care of her parents. She didn't have to worry about. She didn't have no kids at the time, and she didn't have to worry about taking care of nobody else, her brothers or sisters. And I think when I look at my life, sometimes at this point I came so far, and a lot of times I look back at my life and say, "Man, I'm so blessed," because the first steps I was making was so far from the right steps. And even in the midst of me making all those mistakes, I made it this far. And then seeing how far I got to go, because you're always going to be striving and looking at people that you admire, that you know what I'm saying, that give you that fire to keep burning, to say, "You know what, bro, I see what he's doing. I like what he's doing. I like what she's doing. And I want to keep going and I want to strive." And a lot of times I had to learn, my wife taught me this, that, we overlook the small accomplishments. Me and Horace was talking, and I was like, "Man, I got to get this done, man. We got to buy this other house by the end of the year." Like, "Yeah, man," but I just thought about it, like, and I think I was talking to Chris about this, like 5 years ago, I was in a total different space. And as I keep growing and growing and growing, you just keep going to the next step, because I don't have the luxury to enjoy where I'm at, because I feel like if I stop and enjoy where I'm at, I might slip and then all this can be gone. And that fear of that just keep me going and going and going. And then when somebody say you got it, it's just a natural reaction to be like, nah, I'm doing all right. And when they actually looking at your accomplishment and telling you good job. And it's hard for me to accept that sometimes because I look at other people and be like, man, this is a man of the same age as me, this and this, and he a millionaire. I got to keep going. He got 5 businesses, 10 businesses. And the more you meet people and get exposed to people, you're going to meet brilliant millionaires. You know what I'm saying? You be like, man, I got to get on it. Instead of saying, you don't know what he did to get there. But I know what I did to get here. And I came a long ways. And I had to start telling myself, hey, man, let me pat myself on the back and maybe not take a break, but slow down and enjoy the flowers as I'm walking along this thing called life. Because, man, you can get wrapped up and then you'll be down on yourself. And I done been there sometimes and not even recognizing, like, bro, I'm doing pretty good. I ain't the same guy, but you don't notice it. And then, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's a tough place. But like Tootie said, a lot of black men are there.
Zabo.
I can agree 100% with you, Hardy. I actually am the poster child of what you were talking about just a second ago. I had this conversation with someone in reference to our tax office, which you guys know last year we started in a smaller space. We actually came from underneath a good friend of ours who helped us get our start. We started with a small space last year. God turned us around in a whole year to where we were able to double in size and add employees. Right. And I caught myself as I think I was introducing both you and Chris to the office, the new office, saying, yeah, we getting started. It ain't much, you know what I'm saying? And y'all looking like, say, this is amazing. This is a nice space. Y'all actually did really, really well. And I myself was beating myself up, which is what you said, Hard. We're hard on ourselves. And I think that because we as human beings are the worst critics of ourselves first, that we don't see the accomplishments that the individuals who are on the outside looking in may see. So you do have to take time to admire yourself, so to speak. Don't get the big head, but give yourself that pat on the back so that you can keep going. Because I understand what you're saying, Hardy. It is a fear of I don't know what to expect next. For one, it's foreign territory for us. We've never been down this road. Most people haven't even talked to us about the way that we're trodden, that path that we're trodden down. So we are afraid, but we know that we got to get up and keep striking the iron while it's hot if we ever want to get to that place that we said that we need to be. But I think we do need to become more aware of the blessings, being grateful that God has bestowed upon us while we are at that place. Keep asking them for abundance, keep asking them for a level head or discernment so that we can continue. And then that trickles down into what you were speaking about with Chris, where the people who we think that are not looking at us are looking at us, but they're also formulating a plan so that they can be bigger and better. And that's all we ever hope to be. I don't know. What do you think?
That's a good point. Before I go to Chris, you said something I guess I didn't see. All of us didn't have that. We're courageous enough to know we want better and we're going at that, but we didn't have anyone to teach us really anything. So maybe that adds to my question, but you know, all of us have done good, man. Beat the odds, beat the statistics, but you know, we didn't have no blueprint. So, Chris, Leo.
Well, I want to say that Zay, the reason why I was, so impressed by when you showed me that office is because I remember you cutting out of your mother's garage when we was teenagers. So I know I seen the progress. So that's what made me feel that way. But to answer the question, man, like it's our life, it's our live life experiences. It's like for me, I'm just speak for me. For me, my life goes in cycles, and it's getting a lot better now. But as I grew up, man, my life goes in cycles. You'll have like 6 months of things being calm, and then a disaster will come out of the blue. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a mother on drugs, or first love die, or an uncle hits me in the face with a hammer. It's all kinds of stuff. So it was like that's how it always been for me in my life. Like I can't never get comfortable because like some real shit might come down the pipe, and I have to always prepare myself for that. So I'm always on pins and needles like that. So when people say stuff like that to me, I brush it off because I don't ever want to let that stray me from my focus. Another thing, I kind of use it as motivation. You know what I'm saying? Like if I never buy into, you never pay attention to what the fans say, because if you start to pay attention to what the fans say, you'll become one. So I try not to hold too much emphasis and weight onto what the accolades or the compliments. You know what I'm saying? Because compliments, I've seen compliments turns into put down. So I try to use that as motivation to keep going. Never get full of myself. Never think that I'm always there, because I know in my life I have to be purpose driven in my life, and I always got to have something that I'm striving to do, and I can never like kind of like just just let up off the gas, man. I got to keep on pushing, and again, like we also, it's like sometimes life is like a TV. We watching other people. Like I see our newbie in the Papa in the messages when I mean in the comments. I watch his life, how he's selling party rentals, or how he was cutting hair, preaching, and now he got the food truck, the catering business. So I look at that as motivation. Like, okay, if this man can start to try to multiply his streams of revenue, then I need to be doing that too. You know what I'm saying? I also take motivation from Horace. I watched Horace go from things he didn't supposed to be doing back in the day to hosting a radio show, being a public figure like that. Like you look at that as if like it's cliche or as if it's nothing, but I don't know nobody that did that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nobody that was on the radio station. I don't know anybody that ran for a public office. You know what I'm saying? So things like that makes me look at it. Then when we talk about the Mario, look, I know what y'all see. I know what y'all see. But I know this guy. This was a knucklehead. This guy was terrible. Like, we are angels compared to this guy. So, you know what I'm saying? And to see what he had at this day, that it keeps you having that type of motivation. So, me personally, I don't ever want to let up off it. I think Plies made a video about this. Like, we struggle with this. But I appreciate the accolades, man. But I just don't let it go to my head.
All right,
Now,
Chris
you good,
Leo. That's why I didn't let y'all prepare for it, because just seeing that all of us have had that conversation, like I did great last year, and I can't even enjoy it because I'm panicking. I'm like, okay, I got to maintain it. You know what I mean? I appreciate y'all boys, because I was honest enough to say to my friend, like, hey, I told y'all last week, like, hey, I'm stressing. I'm closing. I'm going after something. Like, I'm close to closing my 5-year goal, one of my 5-year goals. And y'all all, listen, I'm appreciative. Y'all all came through. Everybody made a call, like, hey, you good, bro? I was saying, hey, can y'all help me with this? Man, y'all don't know how that touched me, because like me and Mario was having a conversation earlier. I'm like, sometimes you know your position and you can do so much. And, that reciprocity ain't always there in a lot of them situations. That don't mean you don't have to still stand strong. It just means that's your position to stand in the gap for a lot of people. But
let me add.
Chris, you're taking over the hosting.
Well,
I was gonna say, let me add something right quick, Chris. I definitely want to tell you thank you. You know what I'm saying? Because you helped me to recognize something that I didn't. Also, I'm gonna teach you something that Mario taught me. Learn how to take your flowers while they're giving them to you. Don't let it give you the big head, but just accept it and say, put the feather in your cap and still keep going. But don't let it deter you from your mission. And that's just something that I'm saying to you. Hopefully it'll click, where when people give you the compliments or tell you that you're doing a good job, you don't downplay it. You just take it. You don't have to get hardy or big spirited, but just take it as fuel and keep going.
I'm gonna take that in. I'm gonna take that into consideration. But I'm really, 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 really.
Don't worry, we're gonna work on that with you. We got you. That's what
yeah.
for.
I see you as the big brother, Chris. So
okay, awkward. I appreciate that too.
Yeah.
But you were saying something about how things touch you and how hard it was. That brings me to my next. That brings me to my next subject.
Pause.